right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about Marathon Digital Holdings, stock ticker MARA. They put out their June operational report, so I want to go through that. But more importantly, I want to go through what's going on in July. I want to talk about what I think is yet to come. So there's a lot going on with Marathon. I'm going to go through a bunch of my own charts. So Marathon's up a little bit today. It's been all over the place. CPI was announced earlier this morning, which is the inflation data. And so this puts them over a $3 billion market cap. They have not been at over $3 billion since 2021. So from a market cap standpoint, this is a multiple year high, but I want to just take a look at their historical market cap. So historically, back in November of 2021, this got all the way up to a $7.5 billion market cap. So even though they're at a multi-year high, they're still not even half what they were back in November of 2021. Now, Bitcoin's not half what it was. Bitcoin is still down over 50% from November of 2021, which was its all-time high. However, Marathon has grown monstrously since then. So they are a much, much bigger company. They have much more exahash running. They're mining a lot more Bitcoin. So we're going to take a look at all of that. And we're going to take a look at what's happened to them year to date, because their year to date numbers in both their stock and their market cap have been incredibly impressive. So I think both of those warrant a look. Let's start out, though, by taking a look at their monthly operational report. Okay, Marathon Digital Holdings announces Bitcoin production and mining operations update for June 2023. This was put out July 5th, so here's the highlights. They produced 979 Bitcoin in June. That puts them at 5,120 year to date. So, Core Scientific notwithstanding, because they're still in Chapter 11, this was the most Bitcoin any of the publicly traded Bitcoin companies have mined, both in the month of June and year to date. Increased operational hash rate 16% to 17.7 exahash, and installed hash rate to 21.8 exahash. You can see they have just over 4 exahash that are installed that's not running yet. And also their target is really 23.3 exahash. So I will say, they've been talking about this target for a long time. They thought they would get there in 2022. They did not get there in 2022. It was their expectation to get there somewhere in the middle of 2023. Well, technically June 30th is the middle of 2023, and they're still not quite there. Now, according to what they say, it looks like they're going to get there in maybe the next 30, 60, 90 days. So this, as always, is taking them a little bit longer than they talked about. However, they are posting historical numbers. June was the second best month they've ever had. May was the best month they've ever had. And we're going to take a look at July, because July actually could end up beating them both. Okay, all of these numbers do not include the joint venture in Abu Dhabi, which began mining operations, and that is going to be 7 exahash. Now remember, Marathon only owns 20% of that, so that 7 exahash is not all of theirs. If that project gets to where they're going, that is an important partnership, and that could grow significantly. So Marathon CEO has talked about diversifying regionally to where they're 50% in the United States and 50% out of the United States. And I think this Abu Dhabi partnership is the beginning of a lot more to come if they stay on plan. So that's the plan for them. In that vein, let's take a look at some of their numbers. Okay, so this is monthly production. So almost every single one of the top 10 publicly traded Bitcoin miners was down somewhere between 15 and 22% month over month from May to June. The one big exception to that was TeraWulf. They added a lot of operating exahash, and they actually increased the number of Bitcoin they mined. But almost all of the other Bitcoin miners were down, anywhere from 15 to 22%. So I think this was 21% decrease. So this was in that range. So this was not a shocking number. This was pretty much expectation. Let's go back a year ago to last summer and take a look. You're going to see last June was 140 Bitcoin mined. This June's 979 Bitcoin mined. Last July was 72 Bitcoin mined. So you can see by July of 2022, they were really, really struggling. And when we look at the charts later, I want to show you where they were. All right, this is Marathon's pool. They have their own pool, so it's a little easier to track exactly what they're doing. So the first thing I want to show you is you can see this graph here is showing their exahash over the course of time inside their pool. So you can see in 2023, particularly from March to July, you can see this has increased dramatically. And despite the fact that up here this says hash rate in the last 24 hours 10.5 exahash, I'm not sure what they mean by that, because if you look at the chart, they're actually at 17.6 exahash. So they're showing this in hash, so you got to factor it all the way out to exahash. Obviously, you just got to move the decimal point over. They're at 17.6 exahash right now. That's basically what they reported. We know they have more than that ready to energize. They just don't have the power set up yet to it, so that is coming. But even with what they're doing right now, they've mined about 466 Bitcoin in the first 11 days of the month. So if we project that out over the course of 31 days, which is the month of July, that would be over 1,300 Bitcoin mined. That would be their all-time record. Now, we're only through a third of the month, so it's a little early to project what's going to go on at the end of the month, but this is a very strong start to the month. It looks like they're on pace to potentially break their all-time record. And remember, there's a big difference. In the month of May, there was massive extra fees rewarded to these Bitcoin miners for the ordinals that we're going through. Marathon looks like they may outmine Core Scientific head-to-head in the month of July. That would be the first time that ever happened, so that would truly put them in first place overall from a production standpoint. So now that's what they produce, but we got to take a look at some of their cost structure because their cost per coin is a little bit more, and that's important, but I want to show you what's going on with cost per coin. I think this is all trending in the right direction, so what I'm going to be looking for big time is the next quarterly results. The quarter that just ended, June 30th, I want to see what their cost per coin is. I'm going to show you some historical data, and that's going to give you an insight into what I think is going on here. First of all, before we get to that, I'll show you a few other charts. Marathon's Bitcoin mined per quarter. So we just ended this quarter. The quarter ended June 30th, and you can see that we're just under 3,000 Bitcoin mined, 2,926. That breaks their all-time record. Last quarter was 2,195, so they crushed that. So I did put out at least one video per month, if not more, really talking about how they were disappointing in particularly the second and third quarter of 2022 and really the fourth quarter as well. They were still lagging behind, but now you can see they have definitely turned things around. Okay, this is the other chart I wanted to show you. This is cost per coin. A lot of companies report in their investor presentation or their monthly operational updates what their cost per coin is, but in reality, I like to trace this back to the financial statements. We only get an opportunity to do that one time per quarter. So you can see if I look at the last 4 quarters, this number is trending in the right direction. So despite the fact that the difficulty level for Bitcoin is going up drastically in this period of time, Marathon's cost per coin continues to decrease. So I think that has a lot to do with them finally getting up to scale, getting their new facilities online, managing their energy better. So this continues to improve. So I would look to see, even though the difficulty level went up again all 3 months in Q2 of 2023, I think when the financial statements come out, we're going to see that they were able to reduce this cost again. Now, we don't know that. I haven't seen that yet, so obviously that is speculation on my part. If they can get just one more notch down, somewhere into the $13,000 or $14,000 range, that's going to be somewhere in the middle of the Bitcoin miners. Instead of being like distant last place here in cost per coin, they're going to be very close to the average cost per coin out of all the publicly traded Bitcoin miners. And they will be mining more Bitcoin substantially than any other Bitcoin miner. So this starts to be a formula for profitability. They're already positive cash flow, and I expect them to be positive EBITDA and possibly positive GAAP earnings by the fourth quarter of 2023, and that would be a big step in the right direction. So we haven't had that happen yet. So we're going to have to wait and see. They're going to have to stick to their plan. They're going to have to continue to execute like they have executed. But so far, this is really encouraging stuff. So I want to just look at market cap for a minute and put some things in perspective. This is from January 1st through last Friday. So that was a few days ago. So this shows you how dramatically these Bitcoin miners have grown in 2023. Marathon came into the year with a $400 million market cap. Remember, this was once a $7.5 billion market cap company. So they'd gone from $400 million market cap to $2.6 billion market cap. And now we can see in the 3 trading days of this week, they've actually increase this by another $400 million to get over $3 billion in market cap. So the market cap increase over the last just 3 trading days equals the entire market cap of this company on January 1st, 2023. Just trying to put this in perspective, this is what's going on with the Bitcoin miners. So obviously this video is about Marathon, but you can see a lot of the Bitcoin miners are having very similar success rates. So some more year-to-date activity. This is all the Bitcoin miners from January 1st through last Friday. So you'll see Marathon is right here up 358%. This is their stock, not their market cap. So if you own their stock, you'd be up 358% since January 1st. That's as of Friday. And again, they're up from there. I want to go to the chart because they're coming in on a critical point in the chart. And I think there is potentially the next leg up. And that is going to really depend. Bitcoin has been kind of hitting a brick wall here at about $31,000. If Bitcoin can break through that line of resistance and maybe take this next run somewhere up to maybe 35,000 or maybe even 37,000, then I think all these Bitcoin miners are going to have their next leg up, and I think there's some big room to the upside. So let's take a look at the chart before we finish this thing out. Okay, so here's Marathon's chart for the day. If we look at Marathon from the very bottom, that was December 28th. If we go from that point to where they're trading intraday today, they're now up 463%. To put it in perspective, earlier today when they peaked, they were up almost 500% from bottom to top. This is an 87% increase over the last 3 weeks. And if we go to today's high from earlier in the day, it actually approached 100% increase in the last 3 weeks. So yes, Marathon has been running up quite a bit, but all of this is while Bitcoin continues to bounce between $30,000 and $31,000. Bitcoin in this period of time has been very sideways in this exact same period of time. Marathon was trading at just under $19 in August of 2022. Now remember, their entire operations were almost shut down at this point. We were in the middle of a crypto winter and Bitcoin was $5,000 less than it is today. Even with all of those things, Marathon was trading higher then than it is right now. So I do think Marathon is still very underpriced. That's my personal opinion. So please, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence. I say this in every Bitcoin miner video, but it is true. These Bitcoin miners, as you can see from this chart, they are extremely volatile. To put it in perspective, if for some reason Bitcoin was to fail and get rejected at 31,000 and maybe go back and retest its lows from November and December, Marathon would have 80% downside to get back to its December lows from just about 6.5 months ago. So you can see massive volatility. But I do think they're just about to reach this line right here. And I think if they can break through that line, so if we go from where Marathon is right now, just back to its March of 2022 highs, that would be almost a 90% increase. I do think by the end of the year, this is an extremely realistic price target if Marathon continues to do what they say they're going to do. So if all those things happen, this is my bull case for Marathon. So again, please do your own due diligence. Super, super volatile. A lot of potential upside, but with great reward comes potential great risk. So, if you've been trading in this, congratulations. Like I said, it is up over 400% over the last 6.5 months. So we're going to have to wait and see, is there more to come? So that's what I got on Marathon for you. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy this content, please remember to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.